Welcome to the Raiders Weekly. I am your host, Phil Robinson. With me is Willie Epting from the Shake Back Media Group. Steven is on assignment somewhere doing something, but we got the Week 9 recap for you. Another heartbreaking loss. The Raiders fall to the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-20, despite being up 20-10 at the half. The sky is falling. Everything is dog shit. The coaching staff needs to be fired. The players need to be fired. The owner needs to be fired. And right now, it's looking like the Raiders organization as a whole needs to be fired. There's no winning. This was a playoff team last year. Now we're sitting currently with the third overall draft selection spot. No end in sight. What do we do from here? Willie, what's going on, brother?
Man, what's going on, Raider Nation? Phil, I'll tell it to you just like this, man. We've been having we've been having technical difficulties all morning, and we kept plugging and kept plugging and kept plugging, and finally got the right plug. Now, as a Raider fan, it's the narcotic known as the Raiders. They get us high, but then they get us low. And right now, I am pretty low.
I got to tell you, as a Raiders fan, that's the equivalent to waking up in an alley on top of some garbage right now. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I think garbage would be too kind for what we're seeing right now.
a cushion that we don't have, we laying on a one piece of cardboard.
That's too kind for what we're seeing right now. We need to be laying on the pile of crap.
Damn. Demon crap. Don't even get the benefit of it being from an animal. That's some laying on a pile of your own shit.
Yeah,
that's what Raiders are.
Yeah, because it's our own. That is what's well. Oh, I don't know, man. Where are we going to begin? Because last week after the loss to the Saints, which we didn't even get a chance to talk about.
It was probably better that way.
Well, because I don't know, man. I got it pretty good from people of all angles. I mean, I'm thinking, all right, at my church, there are a lot of Saints fans at my church. They let me have it. There are a lot of Cowboys fans at my church. They let me have it. They know that as a Raider fan, there are two teams that I cannot have my team losing to. And both of those are either the Cowboys and or the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got Cowboys fans partnering up with Saints fans and Saints fans partnering up with Cowboy fans and just letting me have it all together.
And rightfully so.
No, it's not right. I get text message. I got a text message in the middle of the night from my homie. His name is Landa Morgan. He is a crazy Cowboy fan. He's been on my show more than a couple times. We're ministry brothers, but he sent me a text last night and asked me, "So how did your Raiders do today against Jacksonville, sir?" I hate it when people send me questions and they already know the answer to it. Come on, man. It's a talk show. You can't be speechless.
Oh, I'm not speechless. It's just a question of what am I going to say to make sure we don't get canceled? What am I going to say to keep it politically correct, PI, and a family-friendly show? Those text messages in the middle of the night. I was, you're a man of faith, and you were talking about it was in the ministry. So as you say that, I need to. It's a talk show, and don't be speechless. I'm trying to respond accordingly because I could tell you exactly what I would have said in the middle of the night, and none of that would have been very Christian-like if you get my meaning. So. Would not have been very Christian-like at all, which I'm sure was the exact response that he was looking for when he sent that message.
Well, what I sent to him was this. I just sent a bunch of laughing emojis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I sent a clip from a show divided between myself, Tisha C, and we had a guest on this last week was Coach Dante from the Sports Empire Network.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sent him the clip because they kept asking me how was I doing, and I just basically said, just yelled out, "Don't ask me how I'm doing. Don't ask me how I'm doing. You already know how I'm doing. Don't ask me." And I just left it at that. So
Uh,
I haven't gotten a response from him as of yet. Hopefully he'll go watch the clip and subscribe to the channel. That's what I'm aiming for.
hey, we got to do small positives. We got to get something right.
Exactly. So I don't know, man. I saw something on Instagram today from a source that I trust pretty much or pretty good, and I know you follow him too.
Mm-hmm.
That said that according to certain NFL insiders, there's going to be wholesale changes in the coaching staff and in the personnel. I'm hoping now we lose every game for the rest of the year. And Derek Carr needs to be one of them. I hate to say it. I like the dude. He's a man of faith. But I don't know.
Faith isn't getting it done. I can throw up a prayer and hope for the best, but right now that's not what's happening. Execution is at an all-time low, and it's just not working. I think I had put out a tweet and I said, "Listen, we're gonna get to brass tacks, and we can do this now because it's Raiders Weekly." So, and I'll give everybody the cold, hard, unfiltered truth, no spin, no jokes, no nothing. Winning cures everything. Losing fucks it all up. And people are angry, rightfully so. But because they're angry, they're not being logical. So we could say that the defense isn't complete dog shit. The quarterback isn't complete dog shit. This coaching staff isn't complete dog shit. But the problem lies in the fact that all of these pieces put together are not working.
Right.
And that is complete dog shit.
Here's my response to that. I 100% agree. Period, point blank, exclamation points. You can put 15 of them behind that I agree statement or response. Did you see the report that came out that the Raiders were trying to trade Darren Waller to the Packers before the deadline?
I don't put much stock in that. They got supposedly the same thing happened at the beginning of the season. And if they were really trying to trade Darren Waller to the Packers of all people, it would have made sense to trade him for Devontae Adams straight up and keep the draft picks.
Yeah, but I think the dynamics of everything has changed a lot since then. So would that realistically been on the table at that point? I don't think so, because where we are now is not where we expected to be. And Darren Waller was supposed to be a big part of where we were supposed to be, along with Devontae Adams. So I don't know if that really reigns true, because nothing is what it's supposed to be. Nothing is what it's supposed to be. This team, and this is on coaching. I'm not going to take any arguments. I'm not going to take any rebuttals. I am not going to take any replies. I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear anything. This is on the coaching staff. When your defense coordinator has a team that has the worst third down prevention for third down conversions in the league, everybody knows that's the money down for not just quarterbacks, but for defensive coordinators too. Okay, let's move to the other metric that really defines either what you are, but more importantly, what you're not. The other metric is red zone defense, red zone defensive efficiency. The Raiders are the worst in football. I'm not talking about, Phil, just the NFL. I'm talking about college, NAIA, Division III, Pop Warner. The Raiders are the worst. You're muted.
In America. The worst in America. And that's not even hyperbole. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to defend that. I'm not.
It's indefensible.
It's indefensible. It's indefensible because you know what? That goes against the law of averages. The law of averages says you got to get at least 1 out of 10.
Yeah. Well,
That's the law. They talk about the law of averages in sales. They're not even hitting that on defense in the goal to go situations. And we could have a long discussion about what's going on with defense. We could have a very long discussion about what's going on with defense, and all of it would be true.
mm-hmm.
But
So
the fact of the hold on.
go ahead.
The fact of the matter is that this defense is the third lowest invested defense in the league. And as bad as they are, as bad as that stat is, the rest of their stats show that they are still overperforming the amount of money that has been committed to the defense.
Well, and now Gus Bradley has now been named the interim coach for the Colts.
Yes, Frank Reich was fired this morning. For those of you who do not know, and the Colts, honestly, when you look at what's going on with the Colts and you look what's going on with the Raiders, it's hard to make that argument that McDaniel shouldn't be fired as well. It's hard to make that argument. I will tell you that I don't believe that that's the right move. I will tell you that prior to getting shut out against the Saints, this was the third ranked offense in the league. I will tell you that after getting shut out by the Saints and having one less game because of the bye, this team was still 12th in offense heading into the game against the Jaguars.
None of that means nothing.
It may not be. It may not be because it doesn't equal winning. And like I said earlier, so it's not that the coaching staff is absolute dog shit. It's not that the quarterback is absolute dog shit. It's not that the defense is absolute dog shit. It's the fact that when put all together, it's not working. So Devontae Adams caught 9 passes for 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. They put up a gang of points early and were rolling. Second half, he catches 1 pass on 8 targets for 0 yards, and they lose. They don't score. All in all, they got 7 minutes of possession time in the second half and got ran off the field.
And Devontae had, I want to say, at least 2 drops. At least 2 drops. Derek put the ball there. He had 2 critical drops. And I didn't see the entire game. I'm gonna rewatch it on what is it, NFL 22 or
22?
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it there, but I kind of don't want to because I was listening to the game because it was a 12 o'clock start here in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even out of church yet. Okay, yeah. So when we get out of church, you usually can watch it, but for whatever reason, it was an out of market game, but whatever. So I was able to listen to it, and I'm like, okay, we up 10 nothing. Okay, we up 17 nothing. Phil, let me ask you a question, or let me run something by you. I'm not going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you some information. From 1960 to 2022, do you know how many 17-point leads the Raiders blew?
3, excuse me.
And how many 17-point or more leads have we blown in 2022?
All 3.
That's coaching, bruh.
Now, it's losing with gargantuan leads and giving up leads is not something that is unknown to the Raiders, regardless of who the coach is.
Excuse me? We just agreed on that particular stat that we just talked about.
You said 17. I didn't. You specified the number 17.
17 or more.
Or more. Yes, there have been times that they've been up. Many times that they've been up and lost games by 10 or more, by about 10 less than 17, we'll say.
No, but that's not the point. The point, 17 is bigger than 10.
It is. You're absolutely right.
So who cares if it's 10 points? 17 points is 3 possessions.
It is.
10 points is only 2.
It is. You're right. Do you know what the turning point of this game was?
Yeah, halftime. Like it's been for the last 8 weeks.
What about halftime? It was before halftime.
When they got that
50 seconds to be exact.
when they kicked that field goal to get that 3, and then
No,
they got
no.
okay,
It was the play before that. That
okay.
was the turning point. That was the direct result after the turning point. The turning point was when you got a wide open Amir Abdullah with nothing but space and opportunity in the end zone if you put the ball on him or lead him. Burned his man. 5 yards. Burned him. And the ball once again is underthrown and a touchdown is prevented by the quarterback.
So we have to settle for 3.
So we have to settle for 3. At 50 seconds left to go in the second quarter, that was the last time the Raiders scored. The Raiders have scored in 2 quarters out of the last 8.
That means that's a quarter of a game. Not a quarter in a game, but 1 quarter of a game.
Of the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Of the last 2 games. Not one, the last 2 games.
0 points in the second half in 8 quarters.
But that's a defensive problem.
Well, I mean, the defense is charged when you get the lead. You get the lead.
I get it.
That's like me handing. I'm going to use a baseball analogy. That's like Shohei Ohtani, pitcher, everything for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. He hits a grand slam in the bottom of the first, comes back in the bottom of the fourth and hits a 3-run shot. He has staked himself to a 7-0 lead, right? So you go into the 5th inning, and now he's still on the bump, but he gives up 8 runs in the top of the frame. That ain't on offense. That's on the defense. That's on him. That's on him. No errors. He gives up 7 or he gives up 8. I'm going to say this. He gives up 8 earned runs, not unearned, but earned.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way I can put it from this particular standpoint. I won't use the NBA because if you go up by 30 points in the first half, you know, everybody makes a run in the NBA. Everybody makes multiple runs in the NBA. We've seen that time and time again. So it's a little bit of a different scenario. But for the Raiders, I don't care what you say. The defense is supposed to defend. Too many times have we seen the Raiders have the opponent with 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 18, 3rd and 20, and they convert. The other team converts. So I understand where you're coming from, but those types of things at particular times in the game, they are momentum killers.
And that, I believe that is the largest factor of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it wholeheartedly that is the biggest factor of what happened. And it's good that you say that, because a lot of what happens with the Raiders comes down to execution and momentum. They don't execute a play, they lose all momentum and are incapable of getting it back.
Coaching.
There's coaching and there's execution, because it wasn't Josh McDaniels that missed that throw. Man was open.
I understand that, but I'm strictly talking about the defense.
There have been multiple opportunities throughout games where you'll go back and you'll see open wide receivers who ain't getting the ball because of an errant pass.
Right.
And that's not on coaching. And that's why I go back to saying that it's easy to blame the coaches. It's easy to blame the quarterback. It's easy to blame the defense. It's easy to blame everybody, look for pieces to associate blame, because it's a complete failure.
Well,
and we've been looking for people to identify with a complete failure for so very long that we've addressed symptoms and not the actual problem.
This is very true. So what do we do? I mean, the Patriot way clearly is not working in Oakland. I mean, in Vegas, it's not. That dude, the GM Ziegler, didn't he come from New England
Yes,
as
he did.
well?
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would venture. Now, the interesting thing is everybody's talking about how this team has been stripped from nothing, and the best that I can tell, they've kept almost the entire team, almost the entire offense, kept them all. Did they upgrade? Did they upgrade receivers when they had the opportunity? Yes, they did. I'll take Devontae Adams over Zay Jones all day, every day, and 3 times on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Darren Waller's still on the team. Hunter Renfro's still on the team. Now, we talk about Darren Waller, and that is probably the single largest issue on this team. And I say that because I don't believe that Darren Waller is hurt. I don't believe that his hamstring is bothering him at all. In fact, for the last couple of weeks, I've heard he's been running around full speed, cuts and everything, breaks, no problem. But when it comes time to the game, there's no Darren Waller.
Mm.
Why is Darren Waller not playing? Why is Darren Waller making the decision not to play?
Has not played since week 2.
I don't believe, like I said, there comes a time in every single prominent pass catcher's career in Oakland, in Vegas, over the course of the last 9 years, where your guys suddenly just decide they no longer want to play.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that. And if you want to blame the coaches, we've been through about 5, 6 different coaches in that span of 9 years. You want to blame the offensive coordinator? We've been through what, four to 6 offensive coordinators in that span of 9 years. There's been one constant through those 9 years. Two,
Derek
two,
Carr.
two constants. Derek Carr and losing.
Yeah.
59 and 76. Right now, we're blaming Josh McDaniels. Derek Carr is statistically having the worst season of his career, except for his rookie season.
Mm.
Your tight end don't want to play with his quarterback. In this game this week, I saw more targets for Hunter and Devontae early in the game than I've seen all year. And they took off on a lead. Now,
Yeah.
granted, the Jags were committing 8 to the box and playing single high. And at the end of and coming out of the break, they switched to a 2 high look, and all of a sudden the passing just ceased to exist.
What are we going to look for in terms of something to look forward to? What, the fact that we got the Colts next and Gus Bradley is coming in, who's going to be looking for revenge?
You want to know what we have to look forward to?
Tell me. Tell everybody.
You got to look forward to one of 3 choices: Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, or a combination of Willie Anderson, C.J. Stroud, or whoever it is that they like at quarterback to take the place of Derek Carr.
Can't be Bryce Young. Sorry.
We haven't finished losing yet. And if the Colts do in fact come into Vegas and beat the Raiders, they jump up a spot.
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't want it to be Bryce Young.
You may not.
No, I don't want it to be Bryce Young.
I do. Bryce Young would be at 1A, and then Hooker would be 1B. And the
Mm.
reason why I say that, I don't like Bryce Young's size. That concerns the hell out of me. But I love his elusiveness and his clutch factor. There is not a more clutch QB in college football right now than Bryce Young.
The, the,
Right now,
whoa, get out of here.
ooh,
I'm telling you, man. If it ain't one thing, it's another.
it's been that kind of show. Let me tell you, it's been that kind of show, that kind of morning. But we're gonna get through it. I promise.
Um,
But the reality of the situation is this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it out there. Probably shouldn't, but fuck it, I don't care. At this point, I've had my suspicions, and I don't believe that I've shared it with you because we only started working together recently.
mm-hmm.
I've had my suspicions that the aim of this season was not to win. It was to go out, give it a shot, see what happened, see how Derek operated in this system, and if he was able to pick it up and thrive, then we proceed with the plan. If it wasn't, we isolate Derek and we show that he can't pick up the system and he needs to go. Every new coach gets his guy at QB. The only
Mm-hmm.
coach who didn't get his guy at QB was Groot. Supposedly his guy was the guy that was already there. He looked at Jalen Hurts. He liked Jalen Hurts. He had multiple opportunities to draft Jalen Hurts and decided that he was ready to keep going with Derek Carr. And I've said this on a lot of different shows. I don't know if I've said it on this one. If I have, I'll say it again. We Willie are in the era of the black quarterback. For
Mm-hmm.
all the years that the black quarterback has been held down, not given a sniff, told he couldn't throw, said he was a running back with an arm, all that other bullshit nonsense that's been said about the black quarterback over the course of the last 75 years is all out the window because that's all anybody wants. That's the skill set that everybody wants because the era of the pocket passer is gone.
Right.
And Derek Carr is a pocket passer.
Extremely limited.
Is a pocket passer.
Okay, so let's explore some opportunities here. Let's explore some options. Say, okay, let me ask you this because I'm not quite sure and I need to be educated in terms of the contract situation for Derek Carr. Are we able to get out of it after this season
Yes,
without a huge cap hit?
without any cap hit.
Okay,
Three
explain
days,
why.
3 days. So the way that this contract was set up was that the Raiders had up until 3 days after the Super Bowl in 2023, meaning this year's Super Bowl coming up in February. They have up to 3 days to decide to keep him or cut him. At which point, on the fourth day, his 2023 salary and 7 million of his 2024 salary will become fully guaranteed. So they have a chance to walk away from Derek Carr completely, no money owed, up to 3 days after the Super Bowl.
No cap hit.
None.
Mm. And we already have $40 million in cap space.
We have 9, but next year we have quite a bit of cap space.
Yeah, that's the projected is what I'm saying.
Yes, and that will be that. So you do that, you keep Jarrett Stidham as the backup, bring in a rookie. Right now, the way this team is set up, you go run heavy, run play action, and you let the chips fall where they may because you got 5 million running backs and an offensive line that can run block and pass block a little bit when you got to play action.
And on top of that, Jarrett Stidham is Josh McDaniels' guy.
Jarrett Stidham's nobody's guy.
Well,
I've seen him play.
They're okay.
He's in the system. He's familiar with them.
Familiar. That's what I want to. Yeah. Let me.
Yes, he's Jarrett Stidham's guy. I have my own personal set of issues with Jarrett Stidham, but a lot of it. In truth, like I said, no jokes, no spin, pure unfiltered truth. Derek Carr's footwork is atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his errant passes, his front foot is all over the place. He's throwing off his back foot. He's not throwing with his body. His mechanics have been poor. His mechanics this week were better than they have been in the last couple of weeks. Now, he attributed to his back hurting and being messed up, and I have to tell you that if your back is hurting that badly that you are not making throws with the proper mechanics and putting your team at risk, then you need to be sitting the fuck down.
Straight like that.
Just like that.
Straight like
If
that.
you're not helping the team, sit the fuck down.
Mm.
24,
Unfiltered truth.
24 to nothing is not you helping the team. Sit the fuck down. Your backup came in, went 8 of 13 for 72 yards, got it down to the 9 before he showed you why he was the backup, because he made backup like decisions when it came to clock management. Now, clock management is a completely separate issue that I have with the coaching staff, with the head coach, because I could tell you right now, with a stopwatch, with a wristwatch, I can manage a clock a hell of a lot better than Josh McDaniels can, or anybody who's on that sideline currently.
Mm-hmm.
That's inexcusable. But like I said, that's a completely separate issue. That is 100% coaching. I don't know what Doofus is doing. He looked like Brandon Staley on fourth downs when it comes to clock management. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. But you got to get to a point where you are not missing opportunities. And I will say, more than anything, and this has largely been my issue with Carr, more than anything, is the amount of opportunities that he misses. It's not what he does, it's what he does not do. And checking it down, playing it safe, all that shit is cool. All of that is great. But when you're averaging 250 yards a game, 1 to 2 touchdowns a game, today's NFL, that does not cut it.
Right. And I remember before the season started, the so-called experts were talking about how they expected for Derek to take another step and really be in the MVP conversation like he was in 2016. Now, they were talking, some of the experts were talking, 4,800 yards and, 37 touchdowns, those type of numbers. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, with this running game and with arguably at the time, or what we thought, you have 3 of the best players in their respective positions at tight end, slot receiver, and the what is it, the Z that he plays, or he plays the Z.
Mm-hmm.
So is it the system? What kind of system is this?
So let me put it. When we talk about the system now, everybody will say, "Oh, they hit Tom Brady, best quarterback ever." Listen, said Tom Brady for the last time Tom Brady was really bombs away was the year they won the championship again in Tampa. Before that, it was 07 when he had Randy Moss.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the time, Tom Brady is killing teams in 5 to 15 yard areas. This system has taken a team to the Super Bowl 9 times out of the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing. And I repeat, let me say it one more time with more emphasis. There is nothing Raider fans have seen in terms of coaching that would equal that. So
Right.
if this system worked there and it's not working, and it's not that it's not working here, because you can put on the tape and you can see guys that are getting open. Guys are getting schemed open and are open, but the execution of the play is what is lacking.
Quarterback.
There you go. Common denominator.
So what are we not seeing recently that we saw in 2016 from Derek? Is it because he was a little bit more mobile back then? I mean, what
contract year?
But
Every year they've been to the playoffs, it's been what?
Contract year.
There you
And
go.
he got hurt in 2016.
At the end of it, and they was rolling. They were going to beat Houston. They were at least going to get to the championship that year.
Man, the Raiders and the Cowboys were on a collision course for the Super Bowl down in Houston that year. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that.
They still would have had to beat Kansas City, and they would have had to do it straight up in Kansas City.
Yeah, and because we dropped both games to them that year, they would have had the home field.
Yes, they would have had to have gone. They could have did it.
Yeah,
they could have did it. I actually believe that if they went in there and they played their game that year, they probably could have did it because it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row in the same. So they absolutely could have did it, but that's what it comes down to. But then you turn around, you can't tell me, and everybody's talking shit about Josh McDaniels and this year and how we had a playoff team last year and that was 10-7 and snuck into the wild card, ended up as the 5th seed, and came out in 2017 and the season was over by week 3.
Yeah. After that well, because we won the first 2, the second one was against the Jets, and Marshawn was dancing all over the place at the Coliseum.
Went into Washington, and that was it. Never recovered from that. So we're looking at, and you didn't see anybody. The only people dancing were the fans in the club seats against Arizona, popping bottles and shit. Season's been over since then. But this is the difference between this year 2022 and 2017. In 2017, they had no hope. None. It wasn't about execution. They were just flat out it was cover your head, put a bag on. The season's over at week 3. Thanks for playing. If this team executes, they could win the rest of this. They could not lose another game if they execute.
Yeah, because the Saints game is the only game that really we have completely just not shown up and executed at all. At all. So
everything else has been a one-score game.
Exactly.
Everything else. So when you factor that in, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did, so I apologize. When you factor that in, every single loss has been a one-score loss except for the Saints game, which I'm still baffled at how the second defense that was actually technically worse than the Raiders defense was able to shut out the Raiders offense.
Yeah, it's I was stunned. Not that we lost, but it's like we did we even leave Vegas? I mean,
didn't care.
Yeah.
Didn't care. And I'll say this. I will say this, and it's easy to critique a man's leadership style from the safety of my couch, from not being able to see what's going on in practice, not being able to see what's going on the sideline. But I'll tell you this. Anytime you hear the leader of your team complaining about the same things for 9 years, is he really leading the team?
Right.
Guys aren't following his lead. Guys aren't picking up what he's putting down. Guys are you could say whatever, greatest guy in the history of the world, love him to death, Mother Teresa off the field, all Gandhi himself, all of that stuff. But when it comes time for preparing to win football games, the team is not following it. The team rallies around Josh Jacobs more than they rally around Derek Carr. Has been like that for years. When we went on that stretch to win 4 straight to get to the playoffs, it wasn't because Derek was out there balling. He was scoring 1 touchdown and turning the ball over 2 times, and somehow the defense was still able to hold teams to 20 or less and let the running game win it for them.
Right.
Or keep it close enough to where Derek could get you in position for Daniel Carlson, who's the true MVP of this team, to win the game for him.
That's the thing. We're not winning those games this year.
No.
We're not winning those games this year. Say what you will about Rich, but Rich, for whatever reason,
Really? Really?
yes.
Wow. No.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone. I'm being unprofessional. I'm listening to you. The Colts bypassed two former NFL head coaches already on staff, Gus Bradley and John Fox, and a rising head coaching candidate in Bubba Ventroni, to name former center Jeff Saturday as the interim head coach.
No way.
That is a real sentence. That's the tweet.
I just
And
saw a tweet that said Gus Bradley was going to be the interim.
let's see. Tom Pelissero just retweeted it. Jim Irsay himself. Jeff Saturday.
He's a great dude. He's a heck of an analyst.
You know what? I wish him the best. I would. You know what I would love to see more than anything. And we're about to go off on a tangent. Fuck it. I don't care. We got 10 minutes left. Jeff Saturday has got to bring in Peyton Manning to be his OC. I got to get these two yelling at each other on the sidelines as coaches. I have to have that visual at least once. For these two knuckleheads with headsets and polos on to be screaming at each other like they used to do when Peyton had his hands up his ass.
Omaha.
I would love nothing more than to see that. I mean, if you're going to name Jeff Saturday the interim head coach, go the whole nine. Fuck it. Why not? Pull out all the stops. Throw some money at Peyton. At least you'll keep your stadium full for the rest of the year.
Do we think? Oh my gosh, stumbling offensively. There you have it. Well, can I read something real quick?
By all means, we're at that part of the program. You got about 8 minutes, 6, 7 minutes before you got to get out of here.
Yeah. Devontae Adams said, "There's no way we should be losing like this."
He said more than he said a lot more than that.
Yeah, and then last week I'm thinking about because he plays. If we play for a team, that's one thing. Okay.
And that's that. Therein lies. That goes back to what I previously said earlier about the dog shit comment. It'd be one thing if this team was just sorry. And a sorry team when you look at it's like looking at Detroit trading their top tight end to a
division rival
in season while they're in first place. That's the type of shit that keeps you in a losing season. That's the type of shit that makes you a loser.
The Raiders' 3 losses after leading by at least 17 points this season ties the mark for most such losses by any team in NFL history.
Ever. NFL ever. We'll just call it NFL ever.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable.
Which is like, so how does that happen? I can tell you honestly that Josh McDaniels didn't forget how to coach. He didn't forget how to coach. He didn't. What did not happen was that he didn't take a rookie last year in the system in New England, get them to the playoffs, have a rookie outplaying Derek Carr in a brand new system, fresh out of Alabama, to get to Las Vegas, and then start doing this, and completely forget how to coach and not be able to start doing this. Now, there have been questions about does he know how, is he relating to the players? Listen, the Raiders haven't won anything.
They don't have time to have attitudes.
They don't have time to have attitudes. They don't have time to do anything but buy into what this man, who is a champ, if he wanted to come in with his rings, his whole hand is covered in rings like he was fucking Thanos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all rings.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I'm a personal believer, said that anytime that you have some dissent in the ranks, that you need to just go ahead and just, how many of you have these?
Right.
And when that answer undoubtedly is nobody, said, so we're losing games because you're not executing. We're losing games because you're not buying in. I can show you the tape. I can show you the film of how it was open, how you everybody was where they were supposed to be, and somehow this didn't get executed. But you guys want to blame me.
You know what? I think we should implement that into the show. We should have some film study on the show so people can see what we're talking about.
Absolutely, we should. That's a lot of production value, though,
Yeah.
and that definitely is good. I got some of that going for some of my other shows, but that's a lot of it's a lot of production value that you got to go in for a ragtag show such as this. I'm not saying we can't get there, but we gotta work on getting our all three of our people to the same show before we can start with that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just what that is at this moment in time.
Right.
Um, but so okay, we got what 3 minutes left to go. I got to get out of here for a meeting. So let me ask you this, man. Let's just go ahead and look ahead to the Colts game. We just read off the news.
A breakfast croissant.
Wait a minute.
Plus
There's
seasoned
that again.
potatoes for $3,
Somebody's talking in my
and they're
ear.
redshirting
Who's
you?
doing that?
So-
Okay, goodbye. Let's look ahead to week 10 or 9 or 7 or 3 or whatever it is.
10. Yeah.
Okay, so the Colts come in reeling with a quarterback that has really only began to start his career this year in terms of the number of games that he's either has started and will be projected to start. They have just fired their coach. Their offensive line is one of the most expensive in the National Football League, but yet
Can't
they're
block
terrible.
nobody.
Jonathan Taylor, who was deemed to be a 2,000-yard rusher this year, has been oft injured. Obviously, the Raiders have a better team on paper.
That's about all it is, too, is on paper.
Which the paper is not worth the paper that is paper.
That is printed on.
What are we looking at? What do we think is going to happen?
So that is a very interesting question, and I'll try to keep it short. I believe firmly, and I'll say this: I believe firmly, and this is where Josh McDaniels needs to figure out a come to Jesus moment and a way, and this is how he's going to elevate his particular coaching. You have to figure out a way to make your scheme work with your players. You don't have other players on the team. You got these guys. So you have a mountain of plays with these particular guys. They have to get something that they feel comfortable running, something that they enjoy running. And if you find something that works, you need to continue to stick with it. Early on, Jags were committed to stopping the run. You lit them up with the pass. They backed off. You went to the run. Now, Jacobs was averaging 3.9 yards per carry, which is under his average. A lot of that was when he got stonewalled for no gains in the beginning of the game, and the holding penalty that brought back the 28-yard run that he got early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Penalties killed the Raiders early. Penalties killed them early, but they were still able to overcome them for the most part. But now we could talk about time of possession in the second half. And largely, as crazy as it sounds, and it's hard for me to even fathom that, the Raiders only had the ball twice in the second half. I don't know how that's possible, but they only had the ball twice.
I'm done.
Half.
I'm done. In the show, I'm done.